Hey there everybody, this is Susan with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. I have a Stampin' Show and Tell project for you today. Today we're going to be using the Oh So Eclectic stamp set and coordinating Thinlits. This card features Berry Burst and also Lemon Lime Twist as our two colors. And we're going to use this fun Berry Burst metallic edged ribbon. Something special about this card is that it is the first in a series of 6 for my Bundle to Go workshop, which is something you could subscribe to by mail. Basically, I create 6 different projects for you. I'm going to share the first one with you today, but the rest of them would come solely through an email. So if you like this project and you think, hey, I've got that stamp set, or I want to buy that stamp set and I could, do these cards at home, then contact me to subscribe to the Bundle to Go. Basically, you get one card kit for the following 6 months, so starting in March, and then we go 6 months. You get it near the beginning of each month. And I supply to you all the paper and ribbon you need, plus a video tutorial, written tutorial, and photographs, so that you can make the card either the way I've made the card, or you can use the elements to make a card slightly different, if you so desire. So it's pretty easy, and it's a fun way to get a ready-to-make card kit every month in the mail. So let's just go ahead and get started with this one today. Like I said, this is going to be the first in my series of 6. And here's the kit, if you were to subscribe, that you would get in the mail. So I'm using Berry Vanilla as my neutral today. So we've got some Berry Burst and Lemon Lime Twist. And we've got some pieces of Berry Vanilla here. One's marked L and one's marked F for leaves and flowers, so that you know which ones to stamp. We've got 2 pieces of ribbon we're going to use. 2 pieces of Berry Vanilla. One will be your front, one will be your center, and then your card base in Berry Burst. So first I'm going to use my bone folder and just make that crease a little bit stronger on my Berry Burst. Then I'm going to go ahead and stamp the images I need to stamp. So let me set this one aside. So on my front of my card, if you can see underneath all of this embellishment, I do have some leaves stamped along the edges, and then we're also going to die cut in here. Okay, so if you want to die cut first, which is actually what I did, you would take your piece of vanilla and your die cut to the Big Shot. I've offset it to the right a little bit so that we have more solid space over here for our embellishing. And so what you'll do is you're just going to remove the die from your card front, and then you can just pop all these little diamonds out. Okay, so that's going to create a little peek-through window for us. Then we're going to come in with our Lemon Lime Twist ink, and I'm using my solid leaf stamp at the moment. And I'm going to stamp 2 leaves up here and 2 leaves down there. So this is just going to create some color on our cardstock that we're going to build our embellishments over the top with. Okay. So there's our foundation for the card. So as you can see, the Berry Burst is going to peek through there. Okay. Now we have to create our flowers and our leaves. So the one that's marked F, I'm going to bring in my Berry Burst ink, and I'm going to stamp 3 of these flowers that have little detail but some nice colored imaging, and I'm just going to stamp those on here. Then I'm going to take my die and cut them out on the Big Shot. So this just goes right over like that. I run those through the Big Shot, and when I'm done, I will have 3 die-cut flowers to work with. Okay, that was pretty easy. Then I have to take the solid Berry Burst, and when you take this to your Big Shot, you put the outline down first, and then we have this intricate die for the inside, and this fits right inside, and you're going to run that through 3 times, and you end up with these 3 flowers, which they're the same shape, so they're going to fit right over the top of our other 3 flowers. Okay, so there's our flowers. Then we need our leaves. So we take our lemon lime twist and leaf die, and I cut one like that and one like this. Okay, so I've got 2 solid berry bush leaves. And then I'm going to stamp on this one. Now this time I'm using my lemon lime twist and I'm using my leaf that's got the texture on it. And I'm going to stamp this 3 times. 1, 2, and then I flip it over to get the 3rd one on there. 3. And then I'm going to take that to the Big Shot machine with that same leaf die, and I'll end up with 3 die cut leaves. So, magic of video, I did that ahead of time so we wouldn't be too long on the video today. But I'm sure most of you know how to use your Big Shot by now, it's not new. And if you have any trouble with your Big Shot, you can always just ask. I'm happy to lend a hand. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get started with putting some of these embellishments on our card. Okay, first I'm going to start with a piece of our ribbon. So you have one piece that's 10 inches and one piece that's 7 inches. The 7-inch one is going to wrap around my card front and tack on the back. So what I do is I take my snail and I run a bead down my edge. I'm just going to go ahead and snail this because we're going to attach it to the card as well. So while I've got it flipped over, I'm going to do that. Now I'm just going to run that piece of ribbon along the bottom of our die cut, and I just tack that around on the back side in that snail that we put on there. Okay? And that's going to go right onto the face of our card. So now our foundation is complete with the ribbon. Okay, and that's got a really silky feel to it, so that's a nice step up on the card. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put these 3 flowers together. So I've layered them. I'm going to use the liquid glue. So first, make sure you've got your shapes ready to be lined up, okay? Remember, the same die cut them, so they're going to line up. And last one, like that. Okay. So now I'm going to take my Tombow liquid adhesive, hopefully not get too much at once, and I'm going to pull this one up and I'm going to put a little adhesive right here in the center, and then I'm going to put that right back down. And that Tombow will let you move it around a little bit if you don't put it right back down exactly where you had it, so that's kind of a good reason to use the Tombow. So I'm going to repeat that with my other 2 flowers. Don't use too much because if it seeps through those little flower seed holes, you're going to end up with stickiness on the front of your card, which would not be good. But if you do get that, you could always add an embellishment like our faceted jewel gems that we have this year. I didn't use them on this card because I felt it was getting too tall, but it is a way to hide a sticky error. Okay, so there's our 3 flowers. So now we're going to layer these pieces onto our card. So I'm going to start with the leaves. So I've got 3 of these printed ones and 2 solids. So I'm going to use them around my card. I'm going to go ahead and use the liquid glue. Now you can glue down every little piece of it, but if you want to be able to tweak some of those leaves to give it some dimension, don't glue them all down. I'll show you what I mean near the end. So there's one. I'm not really worried where exactly these go because, again, they're part of the foundation of the card. The main image is going to be the flower and the big bow. So I'll add this one down here. Okay, now let's put on some solid ones. This one I'm going to send up this way. And see, I'm working right over that cutout grid. Because it's not the primary element, it's more of my background foundation. So Don't worry about trying to keep that exposed. I'll add that one down here. Okay, now to add these flowers, I am going to use dimensionals to give them just a little bit of lift on the card. And I'm just going to put these over where our stems came in to our image. Smooth everything out. So there is no exact placement with this card. You put them where your stamping and your images happen to fall. Okay, so there are our die cuts all added to our card. Now what I do is I make a bunny ear bow with my ribbon. So what I do is I fold it in half more or less, then I make 2 loops, and then I tie a bow with the loops, like this. Pull gently. Then you can adjust your bow until it's the size you want it. Okay, and then you want to give it a tug so it's snug. You can still adjust it a little bit. Now, if your ends are too long, so like this is going to go here, so my ends are pretty long, I need to trim them. So I bring them together like this, and I cut them at the same time so they're even. Then I check to see how that's going to look. Very good. Okay, now I'm going to use a glue dot, and I'm just going to stick that bow on a glue dot. Put that down on my card, and then if you need to, you can just give it one final tug, make it secure. Okay, so we have replicated the front of our card. Okay, now I've left this space in here blank so you can add a sentiment, or you could add another tag with a sentiment on here when you're ready to use it. Because sometimes when you make a card you don't know how you're going to use it, so sometimes it's nice to free up the option. Now on the inside, we're just going to do some little stamping. So I'm going to use the solid flower. If you would rather use the detailed flower, you can do that. But I'm just going to stamp my corners. Kind of an active edge going on there. And then I'm going to use the detailed leaf. And I'm just going to pick up a little bit of green along the edges. I don't want to steal too much of the space off the center of the card for your greeting and your note, but just a little bit of color to finish off the whole project. When you're happy with that, go ahead and add that to the center of your card. Try not to smear your ink. Okay, you can always close it, flip it, and rub it down this way to give it a good adhesion. And then you have your envelope. We always stamp our envelopes because if you're going to stamp a card, you might as well stamp the envelope. So I'm going to repeat that same idea from the center and just add a little color to the envelope. Now some people say, oh, but that's where I put my return address. Okay, so sometimes when I stamp there, I put my return address on the back. Or if you really want to put your return address there, go ahead and stamp on the back. So you have lots of options. Alright, so there it is, guys. There is our first bundle to go card for the Oh So Eclectic bundle. If you're interested in joining my bundle to go, I have a link below that has all the details for signing up. It's $25 to get all 6 projects, and like I said, that includes printed instructions, color photographs in the email, and a direct link to a video tutorial like the one you just saw here today. But I don't make the rest of them public. I just make the first one public to invite all of you to join me. So if you're interested, contact me below and we'll get you signed up to participate with everybody else who participates. And some people say, oh, I really like the card, but I already have a lot of flower sets. So if you have a flower set that's similar, that you think would mimic the card, don't worry about buying the new flower set bundle. Use the flower set bundle you have, but you can still purchase the kits and mimic the cards with what you already own in your collection. So remember, with stamping and creative crafts, you can explore them the way you want to and create the way you want to. So that's what I like about Stampin' Up. It's kind of free and open space to be creative and do what you really like to do. Alright everybody, so again, all the links are below. You can subscribe here to make sure you keep getting my Monday, Wednesday, and Friday show and tells. You can also subscribe to my weekly newsletter so you don't miss out on any of the fun stuff I'm doing with my stampers. And until next time, I hope you all have a great day. Alright everybody, see you soon. Bye-bye.